Welcome to the video. Let's install Tronby onto a Raspberry Pi. This is the super setup video. It's really long. It's going to cover everything. So, here you go. Tronby will let us run our tidbits free of the tidbit backend. My Raspberry Pi is called the Pi 4, but you can also go in on the IP address. Okay, here we are. You're going to need Git installed, Docker installed. So we're going to git clone the Docker compose, just a couple files. Now cd into that directory. You got 2 files. You used to have to edit the env, but no more. Docker compose up. You got to be root. And you could do the -b, but then you can't see what's happening, so I always just do it like this, and then if it's working, then you can do it over with the -d. And this can take a long time, so be very patient. Like a long time. Like my network is bad right now, so it's like, very long. Okay, like a few minutes later, and it's after it's done downloading, you see that it's ready to go. Let's hop over to the browser. Here we are. I'm gonna go in on the host name, MDNS port 8000. You could also go in on the IP address. Once you have the server running, you can come back to this terminal here, and you can see it's kind of like stuck in the running mode. So what you want to do is Control C. That's going to stop it. Hit the up arrow, -D for demon. It's going to run in the background, and now it's just going. If you ever need to look at what's happening, then you can do logs-f, and that's going to basically spit out what's happening. First initial install, you have to create the admin user. It doesn't have to be admin, it could be another one, but just leave it as admin, okay? Here we are, new Tronby. Give it a little name here. Talk about this device ID optional later. More on that later. Yeah, more on that later. Select your device. This is important for the firmware flashing step. You go ahead and save it. And so this guy is the default image that will be sent to your Tronby if you have not added an app yet. So just know that. It's not a creepy thing. It's just your Tronby's looking around, trying to find something. So we've got a huge number of apps. It's not even worth scrolling. Just type in what you want. Clock. Clock's always a good one. And set your location so that your clock is right, okay? And set some other options like 12 hours, and set this to 0. This means it will update the time every time it comes around. That's minutes, but 0 is every time. Got some cool little filters here you can play around with, and there's some detailed scheduling if you really want to, just show your trash schedule image on Thursdays. So we got one app here. Now you click on there, that's going to be the image URL. You can see it's got the ID in there. This is the system generated ID. And it's, kind of just for security so someone can't guess it. But if you don't like that, if you want a nice name, then you can just type in what you want. just has to be unique in the system. So there you go. You can also use that to, see, there it is. Nice name, Gen 2. So if you need to recreate an old device with a certain ID, you can do that as well there. Let's just add a second app here. First app here, I mean. So the admin page is where you can update the system apps, you can update the firmware files. The firmware files on the server, that doesn't actually update that device though, so keep that in mind. You can have a custom repo, you can change your password, la-di-da. You can export your entire user config so that if you have to restore it, something bad happens, you can do that. Especially like on render.com when they just restart your entire thing for no reason and then it's blank again. So you can also do that per device. So keep that in mind. And go ahead, look in that JSON file. It's pretty interesting stuff. Let's show you some multi-app options. You got the grid layout, you got the collapsed, you got the list. So you can view it however you want. You can reorder by clicking and dragging. You can you can pin something so it just stays on the entire time, Bogart the whole time. And editing is for configuring and changing other settings like the schedule and whatnot. And you can also export and import configs via JSON. And here's some API examples. If you have more than one device, you can copy an app to the other one. You can also duplicate it. If you have like a big long API key string you don't want to type in another over and over again, you just duplicate and then use it again. And you can disable something if it's causing trouble. Edit. You can edit the device settings. Here's the two modes of retrieval, HTTP and WebSocket. And that's going to be based on how you access the server. So if you came in on the IP address, that would show the IP. If you came in on the host name, that would show the host name. But you can also click that reset, and it'll reset it based on your current access method. Quick, if you got localhost in here, it's not going to work because relative to a Tronby, localhost is itself. Okay, you need to have an IP address or a host name in here, and then that Tronby can use it to get to the server. You can change the cycle, you can change the global color filter, the overall brightness. If the brightness doesn't look right to you, you want it dimmer or brighter, you can do custom levels. Interstitial app is like every other app is this app. I don't use that. Night mode at a certain time, you can go dim and do only just a single app. But you can also just do a dim mode so that like it gets dark, it gets a little dim, but still shows all the apps. And set the location. And this is just some info. It's not, you can't edit that. It's just what it is. So when you do connect the device, that's going to show up there, the device info. Now, this is how you get into the captive web config portal. It's going to say Tron config. You're going to go on there and you're going to maybe wait a long time before you see this Tron config, but when you do, click it. And here's our system captive Wi-Fi. Type in your 2.4 gigahertz network, password, image URL. Make sure this is not localhost, like I said before. And you could test this URL out if you're on HTTP. You could just paste that into a browser, make sure it works. Click save and connect. So this image URL, you can get it from the Tronby server device. settings page, you're going to have a HTTP and you're going to have a WebSocket. You copy it from there and you paste it in here. That's the process. Now real quick, on boot up it's going to show you the image URL and the firmware version, so you can kind of quickly check if what you put in there is right or not and what version you have. Now for device flashing, going to make a new device. It's going to be an S3. Just going to add a quick app real quick. Now we'll click firmware. These instructions here describe the process. I'm going to type in my Wi-Fi info. It's fine if you know that. And I'm going to click generate firmware. It's going to download that somewhere. Your browser might warn you about it. Make sure you keep it. Now I'm going to go to one of these URLs here. I'm going to demo the ESP Connect because it's kind of fancier. And now I have my S3. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to hit connect. And usually the port's going to be the last one. Okay. Let me just move this so you can see better. Flash tools. Go down to flash firmware. Find that file that I just downloaded. Offset is 0. You can erase if you want, but it doesn't actually matter unless you're changing Wi-Fi credentials from a previous flash. Now it's not gonna reboot automatically. You gotta go down here to serial monitor, click start, it'll reset it, and then I'll start seeing some stuff happen. And now you can come back and click home, and your device info should be updated just now, and it is connected.